Good morning. Today's the 1st of the month. Hopefully you had a nice happy Halloween for last night. It's November FMOC day today, so we're just going to quickly look at the economic calendar for today. We had relatively low important news, but we saw a big move on the market and Treasury refunding announcement, which caused a big push up, that big green candle. What else we got today? We've got FMOC at 2 o'clock, so that's a big one, and 2:30. But just be wary, we've got news at 10, which is a job openings and PMI, and at 9:45 we've got a relatively PMI final that could move the market as well. So if you're in positions, then just be wary that you might see a bit of movement between 9:45 and 10. And we've got oil at 10:30 today, but unless you trade oil, I trade oil, so maybe it won't be too significant. So looking at the hourly chart on the ES or the MES, which is the S&P Index 500 futures, I couldn't really find any good levels, to be honest. The level I was watching that's just touched and rejected, so that's gone in the pre-market. It kind of bounced off the downward trailing 200 moving average as well, which is why I quite liked it. However, I may wait for maybe a higher risk double top. Potentially we could see a double top setting up, but I'll have to wait with confirmation as well for a potential move down. We're currently in, as we talked about yesterday, uptrend on the hourly, and potentially we could look for a break and retest long. So 42.17 to 42.20 is an area of interest which I'm going to be watching for today. I quite like the break and retest long. We've put in a new high as well, which is above yesterday's high, and I think that's the only decent play. Could potentially watch for a reject also at 42.30 to 42.36, this area here, and that's the bottom of a supply zone as well. Oh, my door's ringing. Give me 2 seconds, I'll be back in a sec. Back again. Sorry about that. That was actually a crate of beer being delivered to me, which is not too bad. Worth being interrupted on my live video. Anyway, back to the plan for today. I quite like the bottom of this supply zone. 42.40 is an area I'm really watching for because that's a daily trend line, and we did break it last week, and we could come back up and retest it. So what was the floor? This is the floor here, could become the ceiling. So let me just show you the daily to make it a bit clearer. So on the daily you can see we've got a couple of trend lines. We've got this downward trend line, we've got this even steeper downward trend line. You could argue and put an even steeper downward trend line there maybe, which doesn't make it look good. You know, this is a steeper incline. And what I was watching for was this potential area here, and we broke through, as you can see. Now we could be coming back up. So this is a breakdown. We'll come back up, retest the floor, which is a significant area, 42.40, and then see another move down. That's kind of what I'm counting on. That's what we'll be counting on if I get up to this area. So 42.40 is a potential rejection. But it's quite a big area. You can see it's on the daily, so it's a matter of getting in and waiting for confirmation, and maybe watching the hourly a bit more for that as well. So 42.40 is a major area I want to wait for a rejection. Going back to the hourly, So 42.40, and that lines up with the bottoms of these candles here as well. So, and that's the area I'm waiting for. And we may see it poke through as well, and if it does poke through, we've got 4260 area, and this area here for potential. What I'd like to see is a candle that sets up a bit like that, and then watch it break back down. So we move into that area, 4240, push through, maybe a fake breakout, and then come back down again. So that's the rejections I'm watching for. 4240. This is going to be a high risk 4217 to 4220 area, and that'll be a double top. But more likely I'll be waiting for a breakthrough and a retest of that level and a push up, or maybe into this area where I'll probably use that as a target and a rejection area. As for bounces, if we can get down to 41, it's going to be 4200 area again. That's been a significant area. If you go back a few months, it was the floor, and then became the ceiling, then the floor again. Now it's come back down. It's broke through. It's now the ceiling, and it's the ceiling again there, the ceiling there, and we finally broke through yesterday, and we came back down, and we pushed back up. So we've retested it today, but that's in the pre-market. So I quite like if it comes back down to 4200, 4196, that area for a potential bottom here, and that's the area I'm watching for. Just if I zoom in. So yesterday's highs, 4210, that's watching for reject. So the area I'm watching for is this area here, and we've got 4196. It's a daily level as well, and this daily level has been there for some time. Got tops of candles there. It's right at the top of this area. It came back in again yesterday, and when it finally did break through, was it on decent volume? Yeah, higher volume than the previous day, just about the same. It came back down, and what was the ceiling is now the floor, and proving that today was a big move up. So these are the two areas we're really watching for. This is a high risk rejection, or better still, break and retest long 4217, or 4196 to 4200 as a potential bounce. I quite like 4192, which is today's low already, as a bounce, pre-market low. So pre-market low and pre-market high, they're the areas I'm watching. And for a more significant bounce, probably be this pivot, and that'll be 4172. And obviously we've got 4154, 4150 area. These are areas we've watched. We can see this inverse head and shoulders pattern, which we talked about. If you recall, go back to Friday last week, I think I was discussing that we could be forming a head pattern right now, and that's before we saw this right shoulder come in. The neckline is 4200, so 4200 is a important area to keep an eye on. So we've broken the neckline, we've retested the neckline, and potentially that's validated this inverse head and shoulders pattern, but we just need to see what happens next. So watching the pre-market high and pre-market low. SPY, pretty much the same. You can see this inverse head and shoulders. If we've got a neckline, yeah, that neckline there, 417.18. So that'll be I'll be waiting for a potential bounce at 417.18, or for 418.50 for a break and retest long, or a high risk rejection. If we go long, we've got a target area 420. Maybe, yeah, 420 is a target and a potential rejection area, and 422.30. So this area really, and that's where we come up to the downward trade in 200 moving average. So this is an area higher probability rejection at 422. 1 second. I've got a bit of a cough on me. I'm still recovering from a bit of a cold picked up from my kids, so I just didn't want you to be listening to that. And I think that's it really for SPY. Bounce wise, we've obviously got this shoulder here. Let's put that in. The area I like is probably about there. Little area of demand as well. So 412.15. If we come back down to that area, and obviously we've got this lower 410 area as a higher probability bounce, so this is the area to really wait for. Qs, you could say there's a don't really see an inverse head and shoulders, but I do see an uptrend. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, as technically putting a higher high. So we've got this pivot here, these tops of candles there. So a high risk rejection at 351.40 or a break and retest at 351.40. More likely to break and retest, it's a higher probability of the two. And then we could wait for the rejection at 356 when the 200 moving average comes in to meet the upward trend, and we got the bottoms of these candles as well, and it's this area of supply. So this should be red now. This area of supply. So 455 through to 456 for rejection. And again, we got bounces at 347.22. That's probably the better areas. Area of confluence as well. We've got tops of candles there, bottoms of candles there, bottoms of candles there. So if we come back down to this area, quite like a bounce. 347, 348. And obviously we've got this double bottom down here if we get back down to, which is 342.35. NQ, probably that's going to be the same. Yep, same as Qs. However, the 200 moving average is a bit lower, and it's right at this pivot area. So let's just put a level in just there. So I'm looking at that level, and it's just right on the 200 moving average, downward trailing as well. So potentially a rejection at 14.550 to 14.531, that area here. And we could go for the bounce at today's pre-market low at 14.400, and that's round number as well. And then if we do break down, see some sell-off, then we've got 14.300 to 14.320, that area there for potential bounce. Same as Qs, an area of confluence, tops of candles, bottoms of candles. Don't forget also we've got FMOC today at 2 o'clock, so I don't know which way the market's going to go, but it's worth keeping an eye on that as well. I don't trade FMOC, but I do like to sit and watch the fireworks. Oil, crude oil futures, this is CL, MCL. We're coming into an area of, I'm not sure why I've not got that marked on my chart, but let's put it in. This area here, I suppose it's not marked because I've got this demand zone. But if I had to pick an area, we've broken it already. Yeah, it's got to be there. Yesterday's highs. In fact, yesterday's high is probably the best place. We're just coming into it. We're breaking through that now. Let's have a look on. It's a big area we talked about this a few times. If it comes down here, I wanted to go long, but there was no confirmation yesterday for the long. The 81, is that an area? You could argue, let's see where that is, and I'm just looking at these candles here. Tops of candles and then the bottoms of candles. Look at that. How exact, spot on. You can't get any more exact than that. So I literally eyeballed the levels and put in a hammer candle. If you put your stop down here, break above here, you would have still been in the play right now for a nice, was that a 3-4 hour move? Three-hour move, yeah. But I wasn't really watching after the market. That was yesterday. I wasn't after the market. That was yesterday, 2 p.m. But I don't swing trade futures. In fact, I use Apex, and you can't swing trade futures. You have to get out of the trade a minute before the market closes, which is a minute before 5 p.m. Eastern time. But there's nothing stopping you from getting back in again an hour later when it reopens to continue the swing. So you could technically swing trade, but with an hour's gap, because they're 20, I would say 24 hours a day, 23 hours a day. But that's the area to watch out for. If you missed that, then we could have potentially wait for the breakout. We've got another candle, that candle there. It's a breakout, but I don't play breakouts really. I just play levels. But yeah. So we'll keep that level in 80.74 in case we come back down to that area again, potentially for a double bottom. That'll give us extra confirmation as well. For rejection, we're right at the rejection area right now, so high risk if you take it, but more likely on the uptrend, a break and retest long with a target of 84.50, the downward trailing 200. Or we can wait for a rejection at 85.50. That's a good rejection area. And that's it really. They're the only two plays. A rejection there, or break and retest really, or a double bottom. And then lastly, I've been looking at gold for a bit. I traded gold yesterday. I found it very slow moving, but I was trading it. I was trying to find the bottom, and I gave up eventually. I was only one contract, one account as well. And by the time the bottom came in, I was exhausted from that move. But it didn't move much. I was waiting for that move up, but I was waiting for the big move up, and it hasn't happened. But we're right at this area, point of control. It came round, curving round, and we're on the upward trailing 200 right now. We broke through it yesterday, and then potentially if we close above it today, then we could see the push back up. I did say watch this area for rejection yesterday, 2014, and look exactly what happened. It poked through and rejected. It didn't quite come down to this level because that's an area we're watching for potential bounce. Can I find another level? Yeah, you could say where the point of control is right now, and that's because it's tops of candles, bottoms of candles, tops of candles, tops, bottoms, bottoms. Yesterday's bottom now. Let's draw that level in anyway. Quite like that area there. And what I'm doing when I look for these, when I draw these zones in, I'll do a separate video on this soon. I did a supply and demand video. I don't know if it's worth watching that. I'll put the link to that video in this description below after I close it down. But I might do a support and resistance one as well, because the levels, I don't really go in there with precision. I just kind of eyeball it, looking for averages between candles. And as you can see, when I did the previous average, I was spot on. Maybe I would have been close on this one had I put this in yesterday. Yeah, I quite like maybe the break and retest long, but while it's going sideways, I really want to see it break the top or break the bottom and then pick a direction. So right now, while it's going sideways, I don't really want to get involved. Maybe if it comes up here, I might go short to try and play the range back down again, because we could just be going sideways to look at the daily. We've been putting in this daily squeeze, and we could just be eating time off the clock, and the longer we go sideways, the bigger the move will be, whichever direction it chooses to go. So it's basically like winding back the spring. And eventually it's going to snap. Either the elastic band's going to break and it's going to break down, or it's going to propel it upwards. And that's it really. Back to MES again. Just recap my levels I'm watching for today and my plan. So that's off the cards now. That breaking, that rejection, 420, 417.50. So what I'm waiting for now is a retest of that level, and that'll be on the 5 minute with possibly a 2 minute confirmation. So I'm looking to come back down to that area to go long. Next rejection area, higher risk, 42.36, but we've got 42.40 I prefer, and that's a daily trend line level, which was the floor as we talked about, and hopefully now it's going to be the ceiling. So in fact that is my top rejection area, 42.40, and I'll wait for the retest of 42.17 long. And for bounces, Pre-market low is a daily level, 4200, big level as well. It's the neckline of this head and shoulders pattern. So potentially we'll look for a double bottom around here. Excuse me, for the move back up. And look at this, we've got the 50 moving average. It's been going down, has barely changed direction, a little bit there, but it's been down since middle of October, and now it's just starting to curve around. So, and we're just close, if we close this hourly, or we close today above this 200 moving average, we could start to see a bit of a reversal. But I quite like the reversal to 42.40 area, and then for a move back down. Okay, that's it. And for bounces, I think I said this left and right shoulder area 41.50, 41.54 area, and this head area 41.22 area. Okay, thank you for watching. If you like the video, please hit the like button, and if you did well today, don't forget to leave some comments as well, because I always like to hear whether you've done okay based on the levels I put out.